Anti-Semitic incidents in the U.S. and in New England are now at a record high. The Anti-Defamation League released a new report today that finds the number of reports in Massachusetts were up 41% in 2022 compared to 2021. Nationally, they're up 36%. Massachusetts recorded the sixth highest number of incidents per state in the country. And joining me now is the Anti-Defamation League's New England Interim Regional Director, Peggy Shukur. Peggy, thanks so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And, you know, among the numbers that we just talked about, can you share some of the other disturbing findings that came in this report? Because they are disturbing.
You know, there are many disturbing things to see numbers like this continuing to go up especially in New England, a place that we associate with being one of the birthplaces of American freedom. But at the same time, we've seen a particularly disturbing increase in the number of anti-Semitic incidents that have occurred in people's homes. Seeing swastikas in your own front yard is a deep and enduring trauma for both the residents of that home and everyone who passes by. We've seen banners over freeway overpasses saying such hateful messages as Jews did 9/11. Again, it's counted as one incident, but everybody who drives by and sees that is a victim.
And of course, the immediate question is, why? What do you believe is driving the increase in these types of incidents right now in these last few years?
Yeah, there are a number of reasons that we can point to. We have seen these numbers go up in the past several years, and we've seen an increase in white extremist activity in the area as well. A few weeks ago, we released a report on white extremist propaganda showing that Massachusetts ranked just behind Texas in terms of sheer number of incidents of that type. And a large portion of those incidents are anti-Semitic. But at the same time, we are living in a time where people are exposed to a lot of misinformation and disinformation on a lot of dark channels on the internet and otherwise. And there's coupled with a normalization of making those hateful statements in the public sphere. It's become sort of, commonplace for politicians, elected officials to use anti-Semitic dog whistles and references, really building on some of the oldest anti-Semitic tropes there are. So those factors tend to embolden others to act on their hate. And we believe that's part of what we're seeing today.
Yep. And you kind of referred to this. We consider ourselves extremely sophisticated and well-educated around here. Were you surprised to see Massachusetts with the sixth highest number of incidents in the country?
I really wasn't surprised because my job is to do a lot of the intake for these incidents when members of the community come to us. So what I saw were numbers that bore out what I really expected. But what is really telling is that for many people, they believe that Massachusetts is immune from being among the leaders in states or areas that have a lot of anti-Semitic or other hateful activity. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. And these numbers, I hope, will put that myth to rest. Anti-Semitism is not a problem of the past. It's a current problem, and it's a problem right here.
Sure. There have been a couple of high-profile white supremacist rallies, as you point out, that have taken place in the last year in Massachusetts. Why do you think these groups target Massachusetts?
These groups are targeting areas where they're going to get the biggest sort of media presence, the biggest hit with their own communities, playing to their own base. So doing something that has the dramatic effect as marching through Boston Common around the 4th of July, holding up a racist sign during, the St. Patrick's Day parade, as happened last year, protesting outside, one of the finest hospitals in the world, outside the Brigham, when they were protesting against healthcare equity. I mean, it just helps them amplify their message.
To put this in perspective for people, what percentage of the population in the U.S. are Jewish people?
Yeah, it's a very small percent, just about 2%.
About 2%. But yet, Jewish people among incidents like this, where there are people making attacks, represent an enormous number of those, right?
That is true, but anti-Semitism is known as one of the oldest hatreds in the world. So, there is a long history of anti-Semitism worldwide, and in periods of a lot of economic or social or political uncertainty, and we're just coming out of this period of COVID. People look for scapegoats. They invoke conspiracy theories, and that is also part of the reason for this spike in anti-Semitism right now.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. What do you think we as a community can do to reverse this kind of trend and these types of incidents?
Well, I think one thing is education, and a lot of the incidents that come our way are incidents that happen in schools. And the more educators who respond to those situations as teachable moments, as happened in a local school where an image of a sneaker with a swastika instead of the Swish logo was airdropped to a number of students. That school had a really a textbook best practices response. They not only worked with the student who shared that image, but they worked with the classmates who were also victims of seeing that and turned it into a teachable moment for both. So education is one very important thing. A second thing is reporting these incidents. As I mentioned, many people do not believe that anti-Semitism is a problem right here, right now in Massachusetts. So when you see it, when you experience it, you can report it to ADL very simply on our website. Having these numbers allows us to get public attention to an issue that is really a very real issue and one that is harmful to many people in our communities. And the third thing is to really exercise your muscle in speaking out. Speak out if some hateful act occurs in your community, even if you weren't the targeted group. Letting the people who have been targeted know that you are with them, that you see them, that you understand the pain and the harm that they suffer from an incident is a really important role that each of us can play.
Peggy Shukur, who is the Interim Regional Director for the Anti-Defamation League of New England. Thanks so much for speaking with me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.